to me is a very important tool, and it's one a lot of people get freaked out about. They start using it, they don't understand it, and I find out I use it a lot, especially doing my architectural photography and commercial work. It's something that I use every time. So I'm, excited to show this to you. But I have to give credit to another photographer, a friend of mine, Joe Glida. He teaches a lot too, and he was with me when I was teaching the pen tool once, and he told me about how he taught people how to use the pen tool. And I said, Joe, I'm going to let you know right now, I'm going to take it and use the same thing. And he said, feel free, go ahead, just give me credit. So I'm giving him credit right now. So, but let me get my screen up here. Share screen, come on. Share screen, get that. All right, and I gotta move something out of my way so I don't see it. And let's bring up Photoshop. So let me delete all that. So right now the pen tool is right over here, and I'm just gonna click on it. So the pen tool does a lot of different things. First of all, just, you can just do this. You can click on it once, click on it twice, and you can get straight lines. And then when you come up here, I'm going to zoom in a second so you can see. And when you see this little circle come up by the cursor, that means you're connecting the points. So you've actually made a selection. So that's the basics of it. I mean, but we're going to get into more. So let me get out of that. I want to show you something else here. The pen tool will also make curves. And the way it does this is, let's make a point. And then if you take the cursor and drag, you can see now you have handles, and your selection part is now curved. You can make another one and do that, and so forth until you get back to here. Now, another thing that you should know about this before we actually get going on this is that you can, when you do it, you can click it and you can drag your cursor and get this. But if you hold the Option key, you can break the handle now and make a straight line. And then over here, come and drag it again and then connect it up. Now, you can also do this in the middle. Again, if you hold the Option key, see how the cursor becomes like a little V, and you click that, and now you can drag it, and you can take either a straight point or a curve point and modify it the way you need to. And if you need to, let's say, break it on one side, you can go ahead and just hold the Option key, and now it's just going to bring it like so. All right, so those are the basic things. One other thing I want to do, let me get out of here one more time, is if you, let's say, if you make a point, and if you hold the Shift key, it will make 90 degrees and 45 degrees, so you don't have to think about it, and it'll do 45s and then connect it up. So that's really the basics. So I mean, and there's basically 3 keys that you really want to worry about, 4 if you consider the space bar, but the Command or Control key, the Option or Alt key, and the Shift key. You're probably going to want to keep your fingers on those 3 keys when you're working with the pen tool. So let's go ahead and let me bring up a layer here. Oops, I'll bring it back down here. So ABC. Now, if you can do these with your cursor, you will have learned, with the pen tool, you will have learned how to do pass. It's really that simple. So let's go ahead and just start on our A over here. I'm going to show you. So we're going to come up here and just go ahead and click one point. I'm just going to do this really roughly. I'm not even going to care if it's exact or not on this one. I'm just going to go ahead and click my points. And I'm also going to go ahead and do the inside. Now, if you look at this, you can see right now that they're off. Let's blow it up a little bit here. You can see that all the points are off. So we're going to want to modify this. And this is what's so much better than trying to use the polyangle tool. If you try to do the polyangle tool, you go ahead and you do this and you do this, and you're coming over here and, you clicked and you made a mistake, and it's not perfect. There's nothing you can do. unlike using the pen tool, where you can go ahead and see now, let me zoom in just a little bit more so you can see this. See now, by holding the Command or Control key, I can move this point and adjust it perfectly. So I can come in here and take these points and make sure they're exactly where I want them. Let's just follow our line here. I can come down here and adjust it so that it's exactly where I want it. Now, for me, doing architectural work, this is great. And I'll show you in an image a little bit later on how I use it actually in an image. Let's see. Let's go up there. Let's make sure we get this one. So I'm holding the Command or Control key and then just clicking on the path and moving these anchor points. All right, like so. Now, let's go ahead and let me turn off my layer so you can just see what's there. And I'm actually going to create another blank layer underneath and just fill it with white. So now we're on here. Now, one thing you have to remember about points, if you come, in paths, if you come over here and let me kind of blow this up a little bit so you can kind of see over here, you can see that it's called a working path. The problem with the working path is if you go ahead and start to make another path, that can go away. So what you want to, oops, what do I do? Don't do that to me. What you want to do, oh, I gotta get back out. What you want to do is go ahead and double click that and name it. So we're just going to name this A because I feel very creative today. And so now we have a path and now it's actually saved. So if we go to make a new path, it'll make actually a new working path. So we have our A selected. Now, what do we want to do with that? You know, what can you do? Well, you can make a selection. You can actually hold the Command key and just click on the thumbnail and it will select it. Okay. You can also, we put up path again, come down here and they have the little marching ants icon down here. You can click that and it will select it. So we're going to go back there and make sure we're on our blank layer and make sure our foreground color is black and just hit Option or Alt Delete and we filled that and I'll deselect it. So we have a nice clean selection that looks pretty close to what we had before. I don't think I can see any differences. So that was really easy. I mean, that was doing it with just straight lines. But you can see how powerful it was compared to like the polyangle tools that you can go back through there afterwards and change those around to make it exactly precise. So now let's go ahead and try it on with some curves and some straight lines. So here's our letter B. And this time I'm going to try to do it as precisely as I draw it. So I'm just going to click a point there. And I'm going to come over here now and I'm going to drop my anchor point and then pull the handles out and just drag my cursor. And then I'll come over here. The best thing, something to realize about creating paths, the less anchor points you have, a lot of times the better it is. I mean, when you get into very detailed things, you'll have a lot of them. But for something like this, the less points you have, the better off you are. So I'm going to click and drag again. And that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to come down here and I see, look at this, what I have here. I have a curve coming here and then it's going to go to a curve over here. No problem. We just go ahead, click and drag and get this one exactly where we want it. That looks pretty good. And now we'll hold the Option or Alt key and drag it here. I'm just going to judge by what this other one looked like about what I think it should be. So I'm going to go there. I'll come over to this section, click and drag. And I'll come down here, click and drag until I think I have it. That looks pretty good. This is a straight point, so I can just click. And then I come up here to close the selection. Now that actually looks pretty good, but let's go ahead and just zoom in a little bit. Well, it looks like I might be off just a little bit here. So if I hold my Command or Control key and click on it, and you see it turns. I can now adjust this to see if I need to just move something around just a little bit more, and I might have to move this one. But now I have my nice curve. Actually, I'm going to move that back just a little bit. Come over here. This one looked pretty good. I'll just pull it in here a little bit and move this out. So you can see I'm starting to making sure everything is selected the way I want. Oops, click on it. There we go, like that. Oops, not so great here. But see, you can never do this with a polyangle tool. So that's how come I love using paths for that. That looks pretty good. Let me go ahead and just do the inside really quick. Again, looks pretty good. Let's go over here and do this one. And I'll be honest, and Lee can probably tell you too, the more you do this, the faster you will get. You see right here, I kind of missed it. Well, if I hold the command key while I'm actually doing this, I can move this right now and place it so I don't have to do it later. I'll do this one right here. That looks good. One more. And we'll come back to that and hit our point, connect it. I got a couple that are off, so I'll just kind of come over here and move it around just a little bit. Oops. All right, so we have that now. Let's go ahead and turn this off so you can kind of see what's going on. And let's come over the paths. Remember I told you that it would start to make a new path, if once you did this. So what I want to do now is just name that, and we'll name it B. Click OK. And we can come down here to our layer and oops, I'm going on my path. I'm just going to hold the Command or Control key, select it, and Option Delete or Alt Delete, and fill it. So now I have my A and B, and look how nice that looks. I mean, it looks, if you try to do this with the lasso tool or something, you'd never get it. So let's go back to our layer and turn that off, turn that back on, turn that on. So, and now we're going to do a C, and you can see there's a bunch of weird turns here, but there's also a big curve. So we just want to go ahead and start someplace and see if we can do this. It's all going to be in one try. So we'll go ahead and click there. And this time, I'm not going to try to get this all in one. I'm going to try to do this in two. And I'm going to probably zoom in a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to use the Command key and try to manipulate it right here so I don't have to come back. Sometimes you have to just play a little bit with these guys until you get where you want. Like so. We'll see how that happens. This one doesn't look right still. Let's do this. Oops. Don't like that. And see how you can just move them around until you get it where you want. So now I know this is kind of boring. We're doing, just some letters, but this gives you all the experience that you really need to get good at it. I mean, if you can go ahead and make some good selections here, you'll be able to go ahead and make good selections on almost anything. I did something wrong there, so I just hit Command Z and try it again. And I'm just going to go ahead, put it there. And did something here. I don't know what I did, so I was going to go there. Do this, hit the Option or Alt key to break the curve, break the anchor point. Go ahead and see if I can do this a little bit quicker. And we're almost there. I don't want to bore you with all me just doing this. This is what you guys need to do, as practice for yourselves. But I wanted to give you an idea about how to do it. And if you make a mistake, Command Z will get you back to where you need to. Hold the Option key, break that anchor, and get into it. So I'm just going to turn this off so you can kind of see. There's our, and I made a mistake someplace. Somewhere in there I broke that. I'm not going to go back and fix it because you guys saw it, but what I want to do next is just show you something else. And I don't use this that often. I don't think it's that helpful, but I wanted to show you the curvature pen tool. It's a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and just click here. I'm going to double click here. So by double clicking, it makes a straight line. I'm going to put another curve, just click there and see how it automatically put that curve in there. Now, I'm not sure I like that yet, but come on, move. We'll try it. Try again. And oops, I didn't want that. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to double click here and then come up here. And don't like that. So you can always go ahead and take your Option key and click it and make it a point. I found this not to be as helpful. Some people like it, and I imagine some places it'll work out. I just wanted to show it to you. I myself really don't use it. I don't think it's all that helpful. So now you kind of see how this is done. And if you, like I said, if you can do an ABC, you will, be able to really do a path in anything. So now let me go ahead and take you into an image here. This is of Tampa Airport, the new rental center. And what I do a lot is I have to replace a lot of windows. So let me go over here to my paths and just go ahead and select my paths. So I've created these paths on this window already, but I want to show you right there. That is the path that I created, and I just made a selection. So if you look at my layers here, that right there is how I used that to get the window. So let me just kind of show you how I would make a couple of these paths. You come in, and I am going to get rid of the mask right now. Delete. Oop, did I do the wrong one? Yeah, I did. All right. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my pen tool. I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to work on this one window. And the nice thing about windows is they usually have a black area around it. So if you get inside that black area, you don't have to be right inside the window. So I'm going to, oops, I went too far. I don't want all of this. I want it down to here, and I have a curve. So I'm going to go ahead and select, drag up, or drag down, hold the Option or Alt key, and come out here. Now I'm going to go ahead, and you can see this is not an exact curve here. So I'm going to have to play around a little bit with this to do it right. So I'm going to have to come here, put a little bit in. Now, if you had, straight windows, it would take you no time to do something like this. But when you're trying to match the outside a little bit, like I am here, it takes a little bit more time. Get down there, make sure that's exactly where I want it. And connect my points. And then I can go ahead and let's just say make a mask. So I'm there. There's my, go to my path and select it. Come up here to my layers, go down my layer and add a layer mask. Now you can see I didn't quite make it right. I mean, I was off a little bit. Well, if you did this with the lasso tool or polyangle tool, you couldn't go back and do anything. Well, I can now basically go Command Z, go back to my paths, go back to my paths, and come in here and really look at what I messed up. Where did I mess up on that? And I can kind of activate it and say, oh, okay, I kind of see I wasn't doing so good right there. And right here, I kind of missed a little bit. So you can come back here and rework your selection until you get it right, so you don't have anything that's really off like this one was. All right, I think that's probably better. Let's select it. Go back to my layers. Let's try this again. See if that, come on, go back here, make a path, and see if that looks a little better. And it does. I mean, I'm still got one more thing, so if I needed to correct it. But if I had to do just a square window, it would, it would take no time to really go ahead and do that. So I'm going to just do it really quick here. And I'm in my path, so I just activate it again. And now that I already have a path made, what I need to do is fill that with white. So just Option Delete, and there I have it. So you can see if you had to replace a bunch of windows, which I do a lot of time with my architecture, that being able to use the pen tool is really, really helpful. And just to let you guys kind of see here, I'm going to Command Z. Let me see how many times I can go back. Maybe I can do it, maybe I can't. All right. So just let you guys see what this shot was like, just so that you know. This was the original shot right here with all the people. This right here was adding the windows. This right here is another shot where we didn't have, people in it. Go ahead and basically a bunch of little adjustments. You can see this is my fixed layer where I took everything out. There's people. And I think that was the last one. So you can kind of see that's what goes into one of my shots. A lot of times they want people in the shot, so I have to take it with and without people. How much time we got left? We got a little bit more left. I'm actually just going to show you this. Come up here. I had to replace these windows, and you can see what a nightmare this would be. So I had to make a path for it. And I'm just going to, actually what I'll do is I'll select the path. I go back here and just make a white layer, new layer. Maybe. I got the bouncy ball of death right now. Yeah, it's supposed to be white. All right, and you can kind of see the path I had to make for those windows right there. I had to come around all these lights, had to come around, curves and little indents and all that. So you can see how that path took a little bit of time to make. But, it helps so much, having, just taking that window down just a little bit. And again, some of these paths can get extremely complicated. And you can see right there, I had to work all those windows to put it in. And that was, you can see right there, it's just too bright. So anyway, that's really paths. And let me kind of stop sharing my screen now. So that's how I work with my paths. Just those few things, using the control and the option key and the command key, shift key. Using those 3 keys, you can pretty much get anything, and it's a very, very precise way of doing it. And just to let you guys know something, I always look at Photoshop, and if I'm doing something, the option or alt key is usually the make better key. It's usually if you're doing something and you want it to work better or do something else, hit the option key and try it, because it usually makes it do whatever it's doing better.
Randy, we had one question come in while you were working.
Yes.
Are you using your mouse, or are you using a Wacom tablet? What kind of input device are you using?
I've been using a Wacom tablet for, I don't know, 15 years, or more. So I'm always using a tablet. I have a mouse. The only reason I have a mouse is when my wife comes in here and touches my computer. Otherwise, I never use it. I do everything with the pen tool. It's like writing. I don't have carpal tunnel syndrome because I'm using a pen and not a mouse. My suggestion, if you're doing anything like this, you're better off getting a tablet. It allows you to, it's pressure sensitive. It allows you to move things around. It's just more natural. So I would definitely, say get a tablet. Yeah.